2023 Pāḷi Dhamma teaching series. We are very honored to have Venerable Banadi Kanankara to continue on the series on the profound Pāli Nikāya study and discussion on its daily applications. We are honored to have University of the West Religious Study Department in California, USA, and Pāļi Sandara Bumi, Indonesia, to co-host this series. The teaching of the series is scheduled for 1.5 hours, including Q&A. Today, part 17. Before teaching starts, here are a few housekeeping reminders. We're using simultaneous interpretation Zoom functionality for today's teaching. First, let's briefly go over the channel selection and take a minute to select your preferred language channel. If you see a globe icon on your Zoom screen, that is the interpretation icon. Please click on the globe to choose among English, Chinese, Indonesian, or Vietnamese, according to your language preference. If you like to listen to English, we suggest you still click on the globe to select the English channel rather than stay at off or regional sound channel. Otherwise, you will not be able to hear the English interpretation from Chinese or Indonesian interpreter during the Q&A portion. If you use a cell phone or mobile device, after you select the channel, please make sure to click Done to complete the selection. Go ahead and select your preferred language channel now. If you have any questions, please send it to Zoom's chat room. Also, as a quick reminder, we have proper Dharma learning etiquette. Even though this is a virtual Zoom session, please dress appropriately, sit upright, and pay full attention during the teaching to show respect to the teacher and the Dhamma. Thank you for your cooperation. We're now ready for the teaching. May we invite Sayadaw to start the teaching and Interpreter Bande and Interpreter Dhamma friends to start interpretation, please. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Welcome back to Nikāya study again. And let's start our today's study reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay. Yeah, today's we will continue studying Potthapada Sutta or Tika Nikāya number 9 Sutta. So we had studied part 1 for Potthapada Sutta, and today is part 2, and we will finish today this sutta. So before we continue, let's review what we have learned and also overview the whole sutta content as mentioned in the page number 1 of the slide. Then the Buddha visit to the Potthabada's place, and Potthabada asked the question about the higher extension of the consciousness that has been discussed in the earlier days in the debate hall. Then the Buddha mentioned about these higher extension of the consciousness, not just the not just like the others wanderer interpreted in full way, but what the Buddha explained is gradual practice. So sorry, practicing gradually with the attainment of higher level of concentration and the perception coming together with the higher level of concentration. The lower level of concentration or lower level of perception cease. That refers to the gradual practice until the attainment of the cessation, temporary cessation. We call the Nirodha Samapatti. In the part 1, we have discussed, as the Buddha mentioned. Then after that, we will continue studying from that and from the question. The Buddha asked to the Buddha whether the person and self are the same or different. After that, he will ask the 10 questions. The Buddha were not discussed about them. Then afterward, when the Buddha went back, the wanderers were criticized to the Buddha. Then a few days later, the Buddha will visit to the Buddha with his friend who called Citta. Citta, and 2 of them were busy, and the Buddha will explain about what happened after the Buddha left. Then Buddha will discuss about the Buddha's views depending on the self. Then Buddha will give some example like a Janabara Kalyani and Hyanisini, is called the staircase. Finally, Buddha will mention about the 3 kinds of acquired life or aggregates. But the word itself, atta, the Buddha also used this word atta or atta patilabha. So we will see in detail in the sutta. Okay, so here the question of Buddha also the Buddha asked the question about the self and the passing self and the perception. Here perception referring to the mentality, we already mentioned that, and whether they are the same or different. He asked this question. Then in this case, the Buddha didn't answer directly. He asked the counter question to the Buddha. How do you understand about the self? What is your view of self? What is mean in your question exactly the self or atta? Then in this case, the commentary explained, here, Buddha's view on self, number 1, about the gross self. But commentary explained, the wanderer Buddha already believe in the self is only mentalities, or on the other hand, we can say the formless self, which will come in the later in number 3 self. But he was afraid. The Buddha is very skillful to teach Dhamma and to answer the question. That is why, if he thought that according to commentary, he thought from the beginning, if I disclose my view of self directly, The Buddha was suppressed from the beginning. That's why he hid his real view or real self, what he believed in, and that's why he just revealed the gross self first, number one self. So what kind of self is it? Is materiality composed of the four elements. So four elements are earth, water, fire, and wind. So these are four elements. They also believe it. The physical body is composed of four elements. And also feeding on solid food. Solid food is the human food, what we are eating. That's why he mentioned, I believe self refers to the such kind of reality or substance, the gross self. So in this case, the Buddha analyzed. So if you believe in the gross self, what you say, the materiality composed of four elements and feeding on the solid food. So it will be according to your view of self. It will be another self is arising. Person's self arising, and the perception is arising. We can conclude that according to expression of Buddha himself, that if he believe in like our physical body as self or atta, so according to him, the perception and self will be different. If you have learned Abhidhamma, you may know that the perception and the other mentalities are arising together and passing away together in their group. But in the the former group and later group, if we find out the different group of mentality in the process, when the former mentalities are passing away and materialities are passing away, and the later the followings are arising. That is why self and perception will be different according to his way of expression on the view of self. If he believes in the gross self, it cannot be the same. The Buddha pointed out. And this is not the Buddha's view. The Buddha just pointed out to analyzing the Buddha is view of self. Then when the Buddha said, it will be different, then he moved to the another way of expression. I believe, I postulate the self, which is called Manomaya Atta, which is mind-made self. So mind-made self can be expressed by the information. This is the complete, so it is complete, although it is mind-made. It's complete with all its part, not defective in any sense organ, so no absent. Although it is mind-made self, it has the all complete sense organ. Then, and when he believed that the Buddha in the same way, the Buddha analyzed the same way, it will be different, self and perception according to your belief. Then he moved to the final one, what he really believed, a formless self, which is called arupi. Arupi, the formless refers to the mentalities. So our mind and the feeling, etc., all mentalities are formless. He believed in their formless self made out of perception. So in the same way, the Buddha analyzed, if you believe in the formless self, also the same thing, because these are arising. Now your mind is, formless, mentality is formless, but it is not always existing because your mind itself is different from time to time. So when the Buddha pointed out, then he asked the question, whether it is possible for him to know whether the perception is a person's self or different by himself. So it's a kind of, because he could not understand completely about the nature of self, what he liked to understand. Then he asked the Buddha to explain, in different ways, asking that is it possible? But Buddha didn't discuss further about the self because this is not the subject to discuss, because his Buddha view, according to Buddha view, from the beginning, he believed there is ultimate reality of self, something everlasting like this. So that's why the Buddha didn't develop the discussion, and he just respond to the Buddha in this way. It is difficult for one like you, that for one such kind of person who have the different views and different faith under the different influence and different pursuit and a different training. It will be very difficult to know, it is the same thing or different about the self and person self and perception. And to find out, the self, because the self is not existing. That's why the Buddha respond in this way. Then, on the other side, if we say, if he is not clinging to his own view and just follow to the Buddha and abandoning even for a while and just putting aside and then trying to understand what the Buddha is playing, it is possible. But because the Buddha himself is holding the view of self very strongly. That's why Buddha responded, it is impossible, it is difficult. It didn't say that impossible, but it will be very difficult. Then, so in this case, we have to remind ourselves if we discuss something, and we should try to understand what is the meaning through the discussion. And otherwise, if we just stand on the same point, standing on the same point what we are holding on, and we cannot understand the others. So in this case, the Buddha pointed out, for such kind of person who holds a different view means different from the Buddha's teaching, the view of Buddha teaching. So it will be difficult. Then he moved, the commentary explained that just like the pig, the pig happy to play in the muddy area, although it was cleaned by the owner and keep clean, but the pig will not be happy, and it will return to the muddy area to play. So in the same way, although the Buddha mentioned about from the beginning, Buddha mentioned the gradual practice and the cessation of the perception, not mentioned about the self, but the Buddha always return to the discussion of the self. So he has so much attachment about the self. So we should not be such kind of person. Some people still inclined to the something, they have strongly grasps. And although the other people are trying to convince him in different way, and his mind is lingering about something he is holding on. Okay, so then he keep asking about the question, is the world eternal? Eternal or not eternal, like this. So the Buddha didn't answer any of these questions. He developed 10 questions. This is the 10 philosophical question. And normally, different, the wanderer holding different view when they come to the Buddha and they already learned this question, tricky points. If the Buddha answer, it is eternal, so how you can prove? If it is not eternal, how you can prove? They will develop such kind of counter question. And so now the Buddha also asking this question, and the Buddha answer are the same. I have not declared that, Also, he said that when he asked the question, is only this true and the opposite or the others, and in the Pāli is meaning the others, the rest are false or nonsense. Then in this case, the Buddha was so wise to give the answer, I have not declared such kind of view. Something is true and something is not. Something is the other are false. So in this way, talking about the war, but in the commentary, this war in Pāli is mentioned using the word loka, the war. But the commentary explains that in this question, the war refers to self itself, self, because he like to ask the question of self. But from my point of view, because we have learned talking about this war is eternal or not eternal from the past Sutta. So in the first Sutta of Brahmachala Sutta, Nikāya, number 1 Sutta, Brahmachala Sutta, there the war itself is eternal or not eternal, like this. There in that Sutta, war and self to come together. That's why I think this okay, the war, the universe system, it will be okay. But according to commentary, this refers to the self. Anyway, he's asking eternal or not eternal, or infinite or not infinite. And also asking the soul and the body is the same or different. And these are the philosophical question. 10 questions. The Buddha didn't answer in the certain way. Then number 7 to 10, talking about the Tathagata, existence of the Tathagata. So does the Tathagata exist after death? Here also I need to know, if you study further, the word Tathagata normally refers to the Buddha himself. So the word Buddha himself also used the Tathagata, and the others disciples also using the Tathagata, referring to the Buddha. But in this case, the commentary explains that the Tathagata refers to here living beings, according to commentary. Mostly in this question, the word Tathagata refers to the living beings. So if we translate a living being, but here the translator didn't translate it. He's asking about the living being after death. Living being after death, whether it is exit or not exit, or both exit and not exit, or neither is it not is it, like this. These 4 questions come in this way. And also, if the Tathagata refers to the Buddha, I think the Sri Lankan scholars, they stick to translate the word Tathagata as the Buddha. But in Myanmar scholar, following to the commentary, translate Tathagata as living being. Anyway, asking about the Tathagata, is it after death or not? Now, this question also the Buddha didn't answer. So these are 10 questions Buddha didn't discuss with the certain answer. So here in this sutta, Buddha mentioned the reason why the Buddha has not declared these 10 questions exactly. It means these 10 questions, although we give the the standing on one side, and if we give the eternal or not eternal, it doesn't matter. If we give certain question, certain answer, it will not this will not be conducive to the purpose. Here the purpose refers to the benefit. So the benefit of oneself and benefit of other, it cannot bring. And also it cannot bring the benefit in this life and after life. That's why Buddha didn't declare this teaching, this question. And also not conducive to the Dhamma. Here Dhamma refers to the supramundane Dhamma. And yeah, because in the people are attached to such kind of discussion, and they will say this kind of teaching is Dhamma, but it is not, or refers to the Dhamma by this case. So here, not conducive to the Dhamma, I mean, by developing this kind of discussion, one cannot attain the supramundane level of achievement. And also not the way to embark on the holy life. It will not complete any part of the holy life, the morality, a concentration, or wisdom. And none of these aspects will be fulfilled through this kind of discussion. Then not leading to the disenchantment or dispassion, cessation, or here upasama, the calmness or peacefulness, the higher knowledge or enlightenment or nibbana. I mean, in the Buddhist or tradition, when anybody somebody come to ordain and request for ordination, it started from the samsara to uddha dukkha or mojanataya. I mean, in order to liberate from the round of samsara like this, so to spend the holy life and to search for the supramundane dhamma, yeah. And also in order to fulfill the benefits, to search for the benefits of this life and afterlife like this. But these 10 questions are not related to any of these purpose of the ascetic life or monk life, renunciation. And that's why the Buddha did not declare. In this case, some modern scholars, they developed their idea because the Buddha didn't give any exact answer about these questions. So they develop, because maybe it is because the Buddha did not know the answer. This is their argument. If he know, and he will explain. But from the Buddha's standpoint here, although these questions are answered, but they will not lead to any purpose of the practice of the holy life. That's why the Buddha did not declare this question, did not answer this question exactly. And also, it seems that these questions are subject to be arguing endlessly. If somebody say eternal and the other will say they're not eternal, and then they can argue the whole life without any reasonable conclusion. Okay, so then what the Buddha declare, or the Buddha discuss, Four Noble Truths. Suffering. When the Buddha talking about the suffering, what are the suffering in life, and what is the origin of suffering and cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. These are called Four Noble Truths. And regarding the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha always explain definitely to giving the certain answer. So the reason is these kind of discussion and these kind of teachings are conducive to the benefit and Dhamma and holy life, then also finally leading to the Nibbana. This is the reason the Buddha discussed on the Four Noble Truths. So now we can divide into two parts. One part, the 10 philosophical questions the Buddha did not discuss because it does not lead to the liberation and nibbana. And Four Noble Truths were discussed due to this purpose. Then after that, the Buddha say, recommend, oh, it is good, then, and after the Buddha leave. So when the Buddha leave and the other wanderer, they blame to the Buddha, oh, you always say, so it is law, so it is welfare. He's here referring to the Buddha. Welfare mean, the Sugata. And law is the Bhagawa, and Bhagawa or Sugata referring to the Buddha. Oh, it is, so it is, it is true. Given the agreement to the Buddha's expression, and Buddha always agree. But for ourselves, the other wanderers say, for ourselves, we don't understand even a word of the ascetic Gautama said. We didn't understand how he believed or how he teach the world is eternal or not eternal or finite or infinite like this. So none of these questions are answered, but you always say, the Buddha always says, so it is law like this. Then the Buddha replied to them, yeah, although you don't understand, although by myself I don't understand, but because the ascetic Gautama say the real, the real practice and something is true, that's why why should not a man like me express approval to give the agreement to the Buddha? So when they criticize for giving the agreement to the Buddha, and he said, so why I should not agree with him? So they also cannot criticize anymore. Then 2-3 days later, the Buddha visited to the Buddha with his friend or Citta. So Citta managed Citta. That's why, in order to identify with Citta, so the son of the elephant trainer. And according to the commentary, he is actually, the disrobe man. He ordained and disrobe again already 7 times. And now he visited to the Buddha with the Buddha. Then he paid respect, Citta paid respect, the Buddha just exchanged. Anyway, that time the Buddha explained about the other wanderers, his fellow friends, criticized to him after the Buddha leave. That time the Buddha give remark, all these wanderers are blind. Blind refers to because they don't have the eye of wisdom to recognize which the discussion is well talked or not being well talked. They don't know it is a really good discussion or not. That's why the Buddha say, oh, they are blind and sightless, and you alone. Because the Buddha he could understand, although he didn't get any answer for these 10 questions, he know Buddha's talking is reasonable. That's why, you alone among them are sighted. You have an eye or wisdom just to know the discussion is reasonable will. Then Buddha repeating the I have pointed out as being certain and uncertain. So here, certain and uncertain, just repeating. Uncertain refers to the 10 questions, and certain refers to the Four Noble Truths, talking about the Four Noble Truths. This will definitely bring the benefit. And uncertain means it is impossible to give the certain answer. And also the Buddha repeat them this purpose. Okay, so and Buddha share his experience about the discussion with the other ascetics and Brahmin who believe and also declare after death, self is entirely happy. Such kind of ascetics and ascetic religious men and Brahmin scholar, they believe after death there is a self entirely happy and free from any kind of disturbance or here any kind of disease, any kinds of pain. Only happiness after death. Now, if they believe, these are ascetics and Brahmin believe, then Buddha has experienced discussion about them, and Buddha approaching them, and he confirmed whether they declare such kind of view or not, and they admit, yes, we have this kind of view. After death, self is entirely happy. There's no more pain and disease, affliction. Then Buddha examine their question, investigate their question. So the friends, you guys are living in this world. You guys are living, knowing and seeing these such kind of entirely happy place by your own knowledge. Then they say no. Say no. Then, okay, so for another option, have you ever experienced a single night or day or half night or day, only a short moment? Have you ever experienced? Also, they say no. Then, okay, so if so, do you know the path or practice to get there, the entirely happy world? Again, they say no. Then, okay, so if you are far away from your own experience and the answer is out of your range of knowledge, have you ever heard about the boys or deities who have been reborn after this life, who have been reborn in an entirely happy world and come to you, or I practice and saying that entirely happy, then to approve, coming back to approve, and then they say no again. Then in this case, the Buddhas asked the Buddhabhara, how is that such kind of ascetics and Brahmin, that again we can say that's they're stupid guys because they have no evidence and they believe it. They have no knowledge and they believe in something. Then the Buddhabhara didn't answer because they themselves, he himself holding the view, such kind of view. Self, although they're formless, because he's still holding the view of self. Although Buddha say three kinds of self, analyzing them. And even the formless highest one cannot match with the meaning of self he believes in. And he's still thinking, the perception is another, and self will be everlasting, existing after death, and like this. That's why the Buddha refers to his view, and he pointed out. And Buddha still sharing his experience, given the example of Janabhara Kalyani. The Janabhara Kalyani is the most beautiful girl in the land or in the country, like the someone selected. And so when he is searching, when a man is searching, I'm seeking out the most beautiful girl because I love them, I love her, like this. And that time, another person asked him, so do you know the most beautiful girl is whether the Khatiya or any caste, the Brahmin or merchant or artisan class, any class belong to? So he said, no, I don't know. Okay, so if you know about the most beautiful girl come from which clan, or her appearance, tall or short, medium, or complexion, dark or light, in this way, asking how you know the most beautiful God in appearance or complexion or the height like this, and he replied, no, I don't know anything about her. Then so finally another man, he conclude, if so, you are seeking for someone you don't know. Then in the translation board is keep translated as no. Actually, in the Pāļi canon, Pāļi it's a yes. I mean, yeah, it's reasonable. He has to admit, oh yeah, actually I am searching for the God, the most beautiful God, without any information. Even I don't know what kind. And he admit. Then also the Buddha say, if such kind of person is searching for the God, even he does not know, it is a kind of stupid, because it is out of the reasoning. Then in their case, the Buddha and the others Brahmins and accepted, they accept, okay, yes, you are true. If he is searching for the God without information, it is certainly stupid. So in the same way, you guys, ascetics and Brahmin, you are declaring and that you are believing in the self after death, which is entirely happier, free from disease, without any knowledge about the self, any information about the self. So it is a kind of stupid. Then they admit, okay, it is true. Then Buddha gave another example of the staircase. If a man is building a staircase for a palace or a mansion at the crossroad, and the people come and ask him and about the building, he is just building a staircase for the palace or any other building, or whether that palace is in which direction, facing to which direction, east or west or north or south, and also how high. And the man who is building the staircase, he say, I don't know about the building. And also, so if you are, if they conclude that, if so, you are building a staircase for a palace you don't know. So he admits, yeah, of course, I'm building the staircase for a palace I don't know. Then in this example also the same thing. Someone is doing something without any reasoning. Then it says they're stupid. It means not meaningful. Then the Buddha continued teaching, following to the Buddha's expression. Here the Buddha said in the earlier discussion, he believed in three kinds of soul, especially for the less formless soul. But in this case, the Buddha just changed a little bit, the word. Other than atta, he used the atta patilabha. So acquire self, and the direct translation of the translator. But actually, according to the commentary, atta patilabha refers to atta bhava patilabha. Here, atta bhava is, the aggregate, refers to the aggregates, the five aggregates, the materiality aggregates, the perception, feeling, and also, mental formation and consciousness. These are five aggregates, the common topics for the Buddhist teaching. Then, if we understand atta bhava, atta patilabha, or atta bhava patilabha, acquire aggregates, acquire lives. So should not be understood, directly as a self, because from the beginning, the Buddha rejected the existence of the everlasting self. So in this case, many people can easily misunderstand if they are, doing the self-study, reading the text, or because the Buddha say the atta, but using the word atta. So the Buddha believe in atta, they will make this kind of conclusion. And the Buddha already, rejected the existence of the self. But why he used is he went to draw the attention of the Buddha, because Buddha he believe in self. He has so much attachment discussion on self. So using the word atta, he will fully focus on that. Then also the similar classification, we can say. So these three kinds of aggregates or acquire atta or atta power refers to the three kinds of life. So the first one, gross self, gross acquired self, gross aggregate, refers to the life in the 11 sensual plane of existence. So if you have ever learned about the Buddhist cosmos theory, 31 plane of existence. Here, 11 are sensual plane of existence. So they belong to the first group, gross acquired self or aggregates. The second one, mind-made, refers to the fine material pure life, the Brahma. The material Brahma belong to the materialities. And the last one is formless. Only mentality exists, no materiality at all. That's why it's called the arupa. Refers to the arupa realm of existence. So Buddha mentioned three kinds of atta patilabha or atta bhava patilabha. Then here, further explained, the form refers to the composed of four great elements nourished by material food, similar to the expression of the Buddha earlier. In second one, mind-made. It means complete with all its parts and not defected in any sense organ, rupa vajara. And the last one, without form, made out of perception, only mentality, the life composed of only mentality, sorry. Then these are three lives and three kinds of acquired aggregates. The Buddha mentioned that. Then the Buddha say, in order to getting rid of these gross acquired self, all kinds actually, three kinds of acquired self. It means in order to get it off, or in order to overcome three kinds of life cycle, the Buddha say, I teach the doctrine, I teach the Dhamma. So this is the way how one can overcome these acquired selves, three kinds. So disappearance of the defiling mental state. Through the practice of Dhamma, following to the Buddha's teaching, the defiling mental state will be disappear. And the tending to purification will be growing stronger and stronger. Then finally reach to the purity and the perfection of wisdom here and now. Then attain the super knowledge. And this is the purpose the Buddha teach, not just to build up his the community only. The purpose is to attain the super knowledge. Then after that, the Buddha mentioned before, three kinds of acquire lives of self should be overcome through the understanding of the teaching. Then Buddha's continue explaining, if somebody asks the Buddha, it means that if other asks, their question is, what is the gross acquired self who abandonment of you preach? I mean, what is the acquired self exactly? The three kinds they were complete. And the Buddha will point it out. This is acquired self, pointing to the life in the sensual plane of existence. And for second one, the Buddha pointed out life in the Brahma realm, the five material sphere Brahma realm. And Buddha, for the last one, formless, and Buddha will point out the immaterial plane of existence, life in the immaterial plane of existence. This is what I mean. And to overcome this, and I preach the Dhamma. So the Buddha have the reference. Then Buddha say it is well founded. Yes, they have to agree. Then also Buddha given his way of teaching, how reasonable and how with reference. And just like a man, building a staircase just below that palace, right below the palace, and building a staircase for this palace. So with the reference, or if somebody come and ask where is their palace and how high, and he will point out this is the staircase right under I am building the staircase. So that is why the Buddha, what the Buddha said has the reference. So Buddha said that, how do you think? And the Buddha agreed, certainly it is reasonable. Then also the Buddha confirmed that, if the other asks what is this gross acquired self, etc., their mind-made self, formless self, to get rid of, to teach the doctrine, how is that? The same thing, repeating that the final mental state should be disappear, and the mental state of purification should be growing strong, and purification come. Yeah, this also reasonable. Yeah, he admitted that. After that, at that case, the Citta, that time, although the Buddha is teaching, following the usage of the Buddhapada used earlier, what the Buddha point out is the life in three realms of existence, three kinds of existence. Then, but for Citta, although actually he was actually the educator in Dhamma, in the literature of the Dhamma, he has learned a lot what the Buddha preached earlier when he was ordained. But for himself, he confused, because before that he didn't learn all about this kind of using the word atta. Then he confused, and he asked the question to the Buddha. So the Buddha, whenever the gross acquired self is present, because his mind, he confused, as the number first kind of gross acquired self is present, what about the others? If you explain the three kinds, what about the others? Others are wrong or not? He asked this question. Then that's the only gross acquired self, because it is present moment. It is truly exact then. He asked this question. And the Buddha's answer, whenever the first types of the self is present, because these other two are not existing at that precise moment. So we can say they are not existing. Not talking about the other two. In the same way, when the mind-made self is in present moment, and not talking about the other two, just only one mind-made self. And the same way, the formless self is in present, and the other two. So by doing so, we can understand the life only in that moment. For ourselves, we are living beings for the present moment in the sensual plane of existence. For ourselves, even if we have the possibility to be born in the other realm of existence, because they are not in the present moment, we cannot say about them, about their existence. So just our present moment, present life is existing actually. This is the answer to the Chitta's question. Then in this way, the Buddha said, so in relation to the three periods of moment, past, future, and present. So if somebody talk about the past, at that moment, according to the discussion about the past is real and the present and future will not be real in that case. If somebody talking about the present is real and the others are not really existing. If we are talking about the future, according to that conversation, the future is really existing, the other are not, past or present, like this. So because although Buddha keep the usage of the classification, what the Buddha refers to is the process of reality, past, present, and future. Although they are existing in their precise moment, they are just the conceptual reference only, not ultimate realities about their about the presentation of the life. If we talk about the life, everything what we call the living being is conceptual recognition. For the ultimate reality, there is no being at all. Because the Buddha, following to the Buddha usage, the Buddha used the Atta Patilabha and Atta Bhava Patilabha, something referring to the existence of the living being. That is why the Chitta got confused, and at the end of the Buddha's answer, he got it. So if the talking about the past is only the past only is true like this, and he got it at a time. My past acquired self was at the time my only truth like this. As I mentioned, that depending on the classification of the three period of time, the reference period of time is true and the others are false, we can say, because not existing in the reality. Then also Buddha give the example in the same way, from the cow we got the milk, so we got the cow milk. Then it changed, in the process it changed to the curd, and after that curd to the butter to the ghee, and also the cream of ghee, like this. So in the process of the milk, the dairy process, the meat itself, at the moment of milk is real, the others are not really existing. When it becomes the curds and no more milk and not butter yet. So when we talk about the milk and we do not talk about the curds because they are not really existing. Maybe in the future, yeah. So in the same way, if you are talking about the life, in the conceptual area, and what you refers to is real and the other are not real. So because these are only name, expression, and turn of speech just to use in the conversation or designation in common use of the word. But for Tathagata here, the word Tathagata refers to the Buddha himself, and not only this Buddha, the other Buddha also the same. So use without misapprehending them, so just revealing, because the Buddha also used the word, the bhikkhu and the living beings and deva or something, just like they are really existing, but they are not really existing in their ultimate sense. But in that case, some people will say, oh, if it is not really existing, when the Buddha talk about that, it's some kind of talking something is not true. But actually it's not, because those people and their audience can understand through such kind of explanation, such kind of usage, and the Buddha use and the Buddha explain in that way. And for some, they can understand about the ultimate reality, and the Buddha use the ultimate realities. So sometimes Buddha use the conceptual usage, and sometimes the Buddha use the ultimate reality. Aggregates or the six 12 bases or elements like this. These are referring to the ultimate realities. But such kind of the beings or life or the three kinds of life, these are conceptual usages. That's why although the Buddha used them or not with he used without misapprehending them. Okay, thereafter they call understand, and then they rejoice the Buddha's talk, the Buddha's explanation. And the Buddha he go refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. He may become the follower. And what he said is, regard me, accept me as a lay follower. It means that he renounced from the community of the wanderer who followed to the belief in self, and he abandoned that view, and he become a Buddha's follower. Then for the Jitta, he rejoiced. Afterward, he take refuge again, and also he asked for ordination. He asked for ordination, or please ordain me. Then, and the Buddha ordained him. After that, and he practiced honestly, with the serious and strong resolution. Finally, he attained the enlightenment up to the level of arhatship. So he become the one of the arhatship, and he has destroyed the birth, future birth, no more birth after this life. So this is the statement of Arhat. In Theravada tradition, the Arhat always expressed in this statement, the birth is destroyed. It means no more birth after this life. He will not be reborn any realm of existence or any being. This is Arhat statement. And because the holy life has been lived, already accomplished, and something has to be done, it's already done, and there's nothing further to do further. So in this sutta, at the end of this sutta, the Citta attained the arhatship, but it's not mentioned about the Buddha's attainment. And anyway, he became a Buddhist follower, and he will practice further. Okay, thank you very much for your attention and participation. Thank you.
Sayadaw, thank you very much for your teaching. We have about 25 minutes left.